Hattrick, this is welcome back to another episode of Let's Be a podcast. Um, I'm pretty sure this one is going to be much more brighter than the last one, but I don't think it helps much because we were silly in a defensive shape again tonight. But would like to welcome Doris back again after a short break. Nice to see you again, man.
Hello, everyone.
What did you think about tonight, bro? Could it have been better? Could it have been worse?
I mean, a brilliant game in the final third, but horrible game I would say for some of our defenders. Mainly, we're gonna talk about it, yeah, but it was kind of a contrasting lineup today, and their performance, just wasn't enough in the back line, and it was a shame given those two goals because I think both of those goals were pretty much embarrassing, but the other four, I mean, really well done to the team.
Hmm. Yeah, there were certainly some really good flashes of brilliance, but it goes to show, we really miss Alaba in our back line. I still honestly believe that is the biggest factor, behind the reason why we look so clueless when defending. Javier is a huge Rodrygo fanboy, exactly not a fanboy, but he defends him really well.
I
Can,
saw
can
the
you
group chat, yeah.
Yeah, like we are having a mini battle, regarding Rudiger. But Doris, what is your take on him? And do you see his performances improving? Because I've been keeping a close eye on, Rudiger's trajectory ever since he joined us. It has been on the rise, maybe um, pre-World Cup or, just after the World Cup, but like since the past month or so, it has been either steady or just below par, man. Uh, Tonight was it an exception or more of the same, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's difficult to say, because when he joined us, we knew we were talking about a Champions League player, a player that has won it, and but we were all still skeptical about him. But I think the main point is that he didn't prove us wrong, you know. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's the main thing.
that that's mostly all I gotta say about that. And you talked about any progress in and something that he could learn, and I don't think he's at that point in his career that he can really change that much. And I mean, he did come, you know for in a weird time, I would say, and for a reason, not to stay here for a long time, develop and all that, and we kind of expected things from him now, and be someone really reliable to replace Militao and Alaba when we need them. And yeah, so far Nacho has been better than him. Excuse me. Yeah, but
For sure.
I
Um,
think Nacho definitely deserves a spot ahead of him.
Out of Rodrigo, yeah. But when I was talking to Javier, like if you were reading the chat, I was mentioning how, like I was very against Alaba as well, and I thought, like Alaba wouldn't survive as a centre back with us for long because there were clear deficiencies that I thought, we can't really maneuver around. Um, but like I said in the chat again, I'm gonna reiterate myself that he shut me up basically. Like he gave me so much confidence in his abilities, especially those latter stages of the Champions League and of course La Liga. Like when we were like fighting on all fronts, Alaba was there. Um, do you think Rudiger can somehow turn this around? Because we're gonna need him.
Yeah, we have Javier in the chat saying
Yeah, same.
Just here to leave my comment supporting Rudiger, and I think he will be the only person here right now that's supporting him. But I'm not totally against him. But the last two games, I mean, I'm not sure if we can swear on this channel, but get your babe together for Rudiger. I mean, seriously, he's too old for this. You know, there's literally nothing that you can really teach him. You know, at this point, and that's not there's not really much to say about it. You know, like if it works, it works, and so far it hasn't. And at this stage, you know, in the season, I think it's kind of too late to try these
That's
things.
my
But we are kind of in this situation that we have to. It's not because we want to.
yeah, it's more of um, it's not a choice by design, but choice by circumstance. Like I get your point. Um, but yeah, man, let's like the Rudiger chat apart. The reason why I wanted to start with the Rudiger chat was because I feel like, despite the fact that we had some very good phases of possession and link up and interchanging between our front three and whatnot, we still suffered defensively. It was shocking, man. A team, a team that I think rotated 5 to 6 players. Almeria actually dropped 5 to 6 of the regulars, in anticipation of Elche's visit to their home ground midweek, which for them is the bigger battle, basically linked with their chances of survival in La Liga. So a team that was majorly rotated still managed to harm us. Yes, we had Lucas Vasquez at right back, um, but still, like I don't know. I don't know how you can actually get past that, but I'll try my best to, because we have been having kind of a lull for the past few weeks. 3 defeats in the last 7 games. It hasn't been, smooth sailing. So I guess this is a welcome break in, in some of the, poor performances, I guess. Let's get into some of the chat quickly. Big up, lol, lol. Nice to see you again, man. He says, man, what a game. Everyone looking sharp. Rodrygo with the Farouk jinx. But hopefully Vinny is actually all right. Yeah, Farouk catching strays, man. That man, he brings it all on himself, unfortunately. Lololol also says, you mean Cruz and Rudiger? Yeah, Cruz, absolutely fucking shambolic. I wrote that in our group chat right away. I couldn't believe my eyes, but we'll get into it. Javier is obviously here. We mentioned about him. Lolo was saying Rodrygo is literally a system player. Why are you guys shocked he was never world class except for 6 months under Tuchel? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we said. I mean, he did win the Champions League, but that doesn't mean shit, And when he came here, I don't think anyone really had that much hope.
See, I had like maybe like 25-30% of positive like hope for Rudiger, because I knew
Most of
I
us were
watched.
just really, Rudiger, really? I think
No,
that was
see,
the
I've watched
reaction.
Rudiger enough to know that he wasn't a great defender by any stretch of the imagination. But I knew for a fact that his physical attributes and his experience would actually carve out a role for himself in the league. And I thought, guys like Alaba and Militao can complement him and probably cover out his deficiencies and make him less chaotic and whatnot. And Farouk, he used to tell me, bro, you're fucking mad for thinking that Rudiger is gonna be a leader of the back line. And then I was telling you, yeah, like I was telling Farouk back then that, yeah, like he might not be Thiago Silva, but Rudiger has other leadership qualities, like being aggressive, being vocal. Like he might not be positionally the perfect, but he is a leader in a different mold, like which might enhance us, like improve us from a squad, from the double peat last season. But yeah, Farouk's predictions came true, and I've egg on my face. Unfortunately, that's why I feel even more, biased against Rudiger. It is just what it is. Let's just get into the game, man. From minute one, we were very proactive in our setup. Like Vinicius was constantly a threat. Um, but the matter of fact is, like before Benzema actually scores from the Vinicius cross, he had like a couple other chances, half chances, which I think he should have buried. Last year's Benzema definitely buries those, and he should have had a hat trick in like 9 minutes. That's what I was going by my estimation. But talk to me about the first goal, man. Vinicius, brilliant work down the wing, um, neat ball into the box. Man is on 42 goal contributions for the season. It's not surprising anymore, is it?
I mean, he's only one goal away from Lewandowski right now for Pichichi, and that's
Benzema,
saying,
yeah.
yeah, and that saying something given that he was injured for some time, the minutes and all that. But yeah, brilliant from Karim. I mean, with respect to the opponent, it was, I would say, an easy game, but still, Benzema did everything in the first half. We could see in the second half, he was trying to get some more, I guess. But for the first goal, Vinicius, I mean, what more can we say? Like exactly what we need, and it was in the first few minutes. I think in the 7th minute, something like that. Not sure. But yeah. Anyway,
Fifth minute, yeah.
5th minute. Sorry. But yeah, great from them both, and yeah, it really set up the tone for the game, and afterwards it came with the second goal, and yeah, and the third goal. It was good, yeah.
Yeah, Ceballos was actually great. I've written down how many times like he tried to stretch the play, progress the ball. We saw glimpses of what like Carlo has tried before, like a double pivot of Kroos and Chouameni at times while attacking, where Ceballos has a more organic role. But I'm not sure for large parts this match he was constantly out wide on the right wing, and sometimes he was a pseudo right winger. You know, sometimes providing width, sometimes combining with people inside. Um, I feel like again Ceballos might fool people into thinking that he deserves a start, but he was pretty impressive, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like you said, the quality of opposition should be taken into account. I get it, but still, like I can't um, resist myself from bringing up his name. Uh, like since we're on the topic, Ceballos, man, like did you see him actually starting against Osasuna or City?
Uh, I mean, given that
Since we know Modric is out.
Modric is
Yeah.
out, we need to talk about Tony Cruz. I mean, I don't believe that Ancelotti will replace Tony, even the way he played today, and and last game, and I don't know. Lately, we've seen some brilliant moments from Tony, but still, like this isn't what he plays, and it's not even what Ceballos plays. And today we had Chouameni, and it still wasn't enough. I mean, we'll talk about the goal, but for the midfield, it's really difficult to say because, in my opinion, Chouameni deserves to be there. Valverde des- deserves to be there. I'm not sure if Mavinga will play on the left as a left back, but yeah, basically for Ceballos, if Luca isn't there, That's the only time he gets to play, you know. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be talking about this, about Ceballos. And again, that's also something to talk about, because even for today, while he played really well, um, you know, he doesn't outshine our other players. Even because to, today he played really well. Like he made some really nice tackles, dribbles, and all that. But every game, like every opponent, you know.
Right. So you're basically implying you're, sharing my sentiment that, like Ceballos can't really up his game against top tier opposition consistently.
Yeah, consistently.
Right.
I think that's the thing because he proved himself in big games. Like he played in some of our biggest games. Maybe not as a starter, but he still played. You know, and he played well. He showed that he can play well. But starting, that's the big thing. You know, and it's mostly the trust. You know, having Luka there, like on the bench and playing him, not gonna happen ever, you know, unless
Mm.
Luka is, you know, dead, I guess.
Well, I guess Ceballos, like it seems more and more likely that, like his future seems to be away from the Bernabeu come June. But
Yeah,
quickly
but
moving on, yeah,
not even that. I mean, Luka isn't gonna be there forever, and Tony isn't gonna be there
Jude
forever. I
Bellingham,
I definitely wouldn't get
Jude
rid of
Bellingham.
him, you know. Yeah, that there have been talks about
If
Jude.
Jude comes in, Danny
Yeah,
Ceballos is gone.
yeah.
It's as
Probably,
simple as that.
and Jude is gonna
Because they're
be
very bus.
expensive, but
Jude's gonna be expensive, but
yeah,
see, I've always told you guys that my honest opinions on Jude Bellingham. Um, we should be aiming to get world class players, regardless of the fact that we have enough cover and depth. These guys are young people, like guys like Chouameni and Kamavinga. There is a chance for injuries to mount. There is a chance for lack of form. There is a chance for squad to be actually, competing for places in a stacked midfield. Jude Bellingham ticks all those boxes, man. Is versatile enough to play box to box. Is versatile enough to do kind of a role in a pivot, not as a lone six as such. Can also play right behind the striker if needs be. That's probably his worst position in midfield. He can score a goal. I think he has a better eye for a goal than probably everyone bar Valverde in terms of midfielders in our setup. So Jude, man, I've always held the same notion that if there's a chance to get him, that means City doesn't get him. That means Liverpool doesn't get him. That means all those guys who are actually giving us a run for our money in the Champions League doesn't get him. And in the end, this will be good business. People can frown all they want about the price tag and whatnot. Who isn't expensive in this market? Who isn't, man? Who isn't? And Bellingham, I was thinking he was always like 22. He's 19, bro. Get that straight, yeah? He's 19. So when we can actually get him in early doors and kind of mold him into one of the actual all-time greats, it'll be a win-win. Telling you. Nobody talks about Cristiano's 100 million price tag. Nobody does. Vinicius 60 million for an unproven 16-year-old, 17-year-old. Nobody talks about it. So price tags will be forgotten pretty quick, pretty quick. Do you have the same thoughts, man? Doris, Jude Bellingham, it's gonna work out, right? Please
yeah.
tell me that you think it is gonna actually work out.
Um, I don't wanna really talk about it before it happens because we've been here. We, I
I know.
don't like. I don't even wanna start this, you know. But
Mm,
about the price tag and the thing that you asked, I mean, we have multiple proof in our squad right now, that price tag, it is something, and we are known for it, and we have Mariano and Hazard like our main examples of money, and players costing a lot and doing absolutely nothing for the club. Not that that's gonna happen with Jude. I'm not saying that that will happen, and I'm not trying to put that out there, but I'm just saying like we shouldn't talk about the price tag because one some of our best players cost way 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 less than those guys.
Yeah. Cruz for 20 million, Benzema for 30 million.
So you never know. It's not about that.
Militao for what, like 15 million, 10 million? Asensio,
Exactly.
4 million? So, yeah, man, we have had our fair share of bargains. And if in this market, if we actually have a chance to compete, we shouldn't shy away from it, honestly. I think that is also a reason why, like when we actually deep it, the right winger situation, like we have been crying out for good right wingers, but if you really want, you can actually go into the market and get a right winger, but it'll be the similar scenario of what paid for a guy like Anthony, 100 million. Like, would he ever be worth 100 million? He isn't even as good as Rodrygo, and we don't consider Rodrygo to be, super elite, right? So you see the market. It's a clusterfuck, man. Like, there is no point in actually navigating it if you think that it is money wasted. But with Jude, the club has a different perspective, and the guy Juni Kalafat has been very persistent about pursuing him, and like I'm gonna completely believe his thinking because he has landed us a few gems, Um, so yeah, man, like if he says it's a good time to move in for Jude, I'm gonna 100% back him. But yeah, like moving on quickly to the second goal, Rodrigo Vasquez combining down the right. Vasquez sends Rodrigo through. We think that, oh, he's gonna maybe watch for a corner, but boom, he back heels it into space, spins the guy around. If I'm not mistaken, what was his name? I was looking for his name because he looked fucking shell shocked. Samu Costa looked dead on his feet, spins him around, lays it on a plate to Benzema. Um, those two goals, like it's a complete picture of what we are getting from two of the best wingers in Europe, completely contrasting, completely different styles. Rodrigo, like we have discussed so many times, a much more instinctive dribbler who basically relies on um, what ifs instead of Vinicius, who has a clear set of uh, plan to execute what he wants to do and how he wants to get shit done. Um, Talk to me about Rodrigo Doris. Like people has sometimes questioned whether he'll ever have a prominent role with us. Sometimes they've questioned if like a good price tag comes in for him because he has some sort of Champions League pedigree. People would be okay to part with him. To which I've like Farouk mentioned it in the preview. I was ready to fucking blow that man's head off, obviously because I'm biased. But from you, a bit more neutral perspective, Doris, like, do you think Rodrigo has grown a lot this season?
Oh, definitely. And I mean, last season, do we even have to talk about it? And
Mm,
this season, not much has changed in a sense. That he's still not playing in his position. He Vinicius is still there. And that is his future. But as it stands, you know, he either has to accept really playing on the right, like really, really accept that, or just be okay with being a substitute. There is no other way around it, unless we play something with Rodrygo and Vinicius both up there, but that's not really productive, you know. And it just sucks you know, because he's a brilliant player, and like what a thing to you know, what a problem to have, you know,
Honestly,
both
honestly,
Vinicius
people
and
don't deep it.
it's so hard, man. Like, I cannot choose. Basically, I'm kidding. Like,
But still, like him playing out of position kind of makes him, I guess, be a little more determined. That's what I find in Rodrigo, because he has to always do it the hard way, which sometimes brings the best out of him. On the left hand side, it looks too easy. Like we have seen both play the left wing, and Vinicius is like miles ahead. But when the circumstances are against Rodrigo, he seems to step up every single time, man.
yeah, and I'm surprised that you know, at some point we didn't give it a chance. You know, Vinicius playing on the right and just give a few minutes to
Mm,
Rodrigo on the left. Just try it. You know, just try it. Not that we should play like that. You know,
yeah.
but give him a chance. Um, Vinicius had his chance, and for a long time now. Like, let's
But
not kid ourselves. Yeah.
don't you think, Doris, that Ancelotti, Davide, and all of those guys would be actually relying on video footage, even in training drills, even in like 5v5 games, in between training. Um, they would have actually tried a possibility of Vinicius and Rodrigo existing together and the roles being reversed. But games like this tells me that they must have tried it and it never seems to have worked out. Probably that's what I
Yeah.
think.
Probably.
That's what I think.
Probably. I mean.
Because a game like Almeria against Almeria at home is a perfect opportunity, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But it's so difficult to plan anything for the future right now. You know,
Mm.
talking about Benzema, you know, he also won't be here for long. And with Jude possibly coming, probably coming, I don't know. We have quite a few holes to fill, and I don't wanna even think about Rodrigo having to leave because I bet we could sell him for a lot of money, you know. But I just hope that it doesn't happen, you know, and they figure something out. But for the
And like
future, it's really difficult for him, yeah.
I know, like from 2 years now. That's what Farooq was telling me. Like he wasn't asking for him to be sold, but he was just telling you by the just by forecasting how the next 2 years are gonna pan out. If the conditions remain the same for Rodrigo, he can't actually cut it in to the starting 11. Like there might be a case where like we'll look to expand him. And when I look towards us in the past, Perez was all too happy to sell off a guy like Ozil, which I thought would never happen in my lifetime, and that happened. So yeah, Rodrigo, man, I'm not gonna say shit like that. I want him to retire here. That's what I want Rodrigo to do. Hopefully, he'll grow from this man. Honestly, he has grown, in my opinion, leaps and bounds from last year. This man thrives on adversity, and I completely believe in him, honestly. Um, yeah, like after we went 2-0 up, like the stadium was pumped, fans were pumped, Benzema looked pumped, everyone was kind of coasting. And then we see, shades of what we are, pretty efficient at again, being absolutely fucking clowns at the back. A guy who was like 5'7", 5'8", jumping in between Rudiger and Militao to win ahead. I guess it was Ramazani, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, like couple of comical attempts from Militao and Vasquez to get the ball. Like they're struggling to even clear, like our own penalty box. Like sometimes I wonder, like how much effort do they actually put into La Liga ever since they thought they threw the league away. Is there a genuine case? Because I was here on the Girona post match, and my sole takeaway from that game, my biggest takeaway from that game was that we didn't give a fuck. Honestly, Doris, like, do you see sometimes that kind of tendency with us, especially when we're defending, or is it a matter of just us being, very very poor in that aspect, defensive IQ, if I must say.
You mean for the goal that they scored? The first
We'll
one?
get to that, but in general, I was just talking about there was already signs
Oh,
like that goal was coming
yeah.
before they even scored. So I'm just asking you, is it carelessness or is it just the fact that we're not good enough defensively?
Oof, that's a really big question. I mean, we have
Mm.
talked about Rudiger, and I mean, Alaba is no saint. It's not like he's
He-
perfect. And
He's not Maldini. I know
yeah,
that. I know that.
and
Yeah.
Alaba and Militao together, as good as they are, they're still not perfect. And
Mm.
obviously, we've seen quite a few, you know, poor performances from our defense, even this season. Like last season, it was okay for Alaba. He just joined, but this season, I wouldn't say that he really improved much, but he's still such a you know such a good player. Obviously, for the things that he did for our club already, but him being injured right now, it's really hurting our defense. And we know Nacho, he's been here for so long, and he's still not starting. I'm sure he feels some way about it, and Militao is the only player that we have that we're really really excited about, and there's really a future for
He
him
he had a
here.
stinker last game against Girona. He was the
Definitely.
worst player
And
on the
even
pitch.
this game, I wouldn't say that he was amazing. Quite a few
But he
times.
was better than Rudiger.
Oh, yeah, he was. He was. I love that you're mentioning that like that, but yeah, he was. But still, Militao, he did get caught uh, quite a few times,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
game. And it, the only thing is that they didn't score, but if it was someone else, I mean, uh,
Yeah.
it would have been unforgivable. And
That's what I.
even for the goal, I think it was the second goal,
Mm.
where we're probably gonna blame Rudiger and Camavinga, but still Militao also was nowhere to be seen. And all of them
For
just,
their second goal, you mean?
yeah, for their second goal.
But Cruz gives the ball away, man. Honestly, like you can't fucking do
Oh,
that.
no,
What
no,
is
no,
that?
no, 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 no. First goal.
The first goal. The first goal.
First
First
goal.
goal.
First goal. I thought,
Militao should have basically, like shimmied across and tried to close him down
all of them were
quicker.
just looking at each
But I'll
other.
tell you, the major blame is with fucking Rudiger, man. Yes,
Oh, yeah,
like how many
definitely.
times, like Javi was telling us, in the group chat, Kamavinga should have marked the man. Look, he lets the man run. Bro, I'm asking you, how many fullbacks or wing backs in world football, past or present, apart from the absolute greats, actually manages to guzz across and see
The
that
thing
like
is that it shouldn't
20 seconds
even
before?
come to that cross. Let's not blame
Shouldn't. But
Camavinga
we
there.
know,
It shouldn't
bro.
even be on
It
Camavinga
shouldn't come
there.
to that, but Vasquez is the guy on a right back. Like he has his limitations. He's not the best defender.
I
But
mean,
still,
I think we would be wasting time talking about Vasquez. Like, there's
no.
nothing
Put
we
some
can really
respect.
say about. Yeah, it's just,
Put some respect on Vasquez, man. Honestly,
yeah.
we'll get to Vasquez shortly. Well, we can get to him right away. But before we get to that, I would like to stress the fact that the goal that we conceded right on half time was solely on Rudiger, in my opinion. Militao should have done better, yeah. But Rudiger is the man who is right there. Like, he doesn't
Definitely.
know
I agree
where the
with you.
guy where the guy is. He doesn't know, man. Honestly, like, how does he get paid top money, top dollar to do that? I don't understand. And it's like I would like to stress it again to Javier. Wing backs don't cover runners all the time. Kamavinga is a 20-year-old midfielder being plugged in at left back, so he gets even less of the blame, in my opinion. Anyway, let's just get into some of the comments quickly. Right. Lol was saying Vinny actually has the third most goals plus assists at the club level this season. One of Mbappe and Ceballos is just a very good substitute. Thank God Valverde will be playing in the Copa del Rey final and Champions League semis. Yeah, unfortunately, that is the verdict for Ceballos that most people tend to agree on. Um, but Winnie, man, yeah, different gravy this season. I'm so happy that he is actually, improved upon last year. Um, but yeah, like unnecessary yellow card. I don't know why. I just pray sometimes, I get his angst. I've been there, like I've seen shit like that, gotten so fucking mad, and haven't gone through that so many times that I think to myself, what is the point? Like, if you can protest it, might as well protest it. But the moment you take it a bit too far, you're getting carded, man. So, and he knew that coming into this game that he'll be missing the next one. Maybe since the league is done, probably he doesn't give as many fucks to be cautious. But still, unnecessary yellow. We know the refereeing. It's a fucking shit show. These men shouldn't be in the jobs, but it is what it is. We can't change, the whole fucking system anyway. Jacob was mentioning Rudiger greater than Baran. I don't know what. I don't know who the fuck spiked your sangria, bro. But be careful. What you speak on here. Honestly, Baran, yeah. Lol. Oh, Javier was saying, if Rodrygo leaves, I'm out. Yeah, you
I
see the
agree
thing.
with you.
Yeah, there is no point in rooting for guys who give everything. Like if we sell a guy like Rodrigo, he deserves like these are the stats, man. Like most goal contributions for us this season. Yeah, Vinny obviously top 42, Benzema's 35, third on the list. Surprise, surprise, Rodrigo with 24, and most of his goals mean so much more than a guy like Sensio's does, right? Like Rodrigo's goals actually are winners, equalizers, um, big Champions League contributions and whatnot. Asensio is right there, like in fourth with 19, and Valverde is at fifth with 18. But yeah, man, like Rodrigo deserves his flowers, and I'm pretty sure that he'll be a very decisive factor against City in just like under 2 weeks. It's mad. We are literally so fucking close. Lolo was mentioning Rodrigo is world class on the left wing, but Vinny is the best left winger in the world. That's the difference. Also, Rodrigo will be world class on the right wing. Stop listening to Farouk. That's what I would suggest most of you guys to do. Stop listening to Farouk, man. Only Salah and Saka have more goals or assists at right wing. Yeah, yeah. That those are the standards that Rodrigo should be aiming to hit. Saka has been the best right winger in the world this season, but if Rodrigo does the job at this business end of the season, there is no competitors. There are no contenders. Even the fidget spinner, this fidget spinner at United, like he would dream of having a couple of goals like what Vinny, or Rodrigo had tonight.
Who?
I mean, the standards are so high that we sometimes need to check them ourselves. Like this man has been good, bro.
Who are you
Yeah,
talking about?
I'm talking about Rodrigo.
No, no,
Like
in United.
Anthony,
No,
the
Anthony.
fidget spinner, fidget spinner.
It's just been there.
Yeah, that's what people call him. So yeah, they don't acknowledge him as Anthony anymore. Mo was mentioning that defense needs to fix up before the City game. They better do, man. If we don't, it is going to be a long 180 minutes, especially the second leg being away at Etihad. I have no chest for it, honestly. People mistake fear of the um, outcome, the fear of actually missing out on a final berth, as to fear of City. I've said this last year. I'm going to reiterate myself again this year. I don't fucking fear anyone in Europe. I don't fucking fear anyone in the world because I represent this fucking crest. Yeah, and it has shown me that it can survive any adversity. My only fear is the prospect of us coming up against a fucking juggernaut and basically not having enough guns for the fight. That's my only fear. Like Doris, does that make sense, man? Like, can you reason with that? Like, we didn't actually fear City or anyone, as a matter of fact. But the fear of losing out on a semi-final is the worst, right? It is the worst.
Who didn't? You mean like last season, City? Because I was
Like,
shitting my pants, dude.
yeah, I was, man. I've told this so many times. I died and came back, after Rodrygo scored. Um, there is you can reason with that, right? Like we don't fear City. It is a matter of us not making the final. That is just incredibly harsh, man, for a team that put in everything, for 12 months and not make that final lap. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
morale
The thing is,
draining.
we're not
Yeah.
talking about any other team in the
Mm,
world. We're talking about City. And we're
yeah.
talking about Carvajal, Vasquez. We're talking about Camavinga. We're talking about Nacho, Militao, Alaba does not fit. Rudiger. We're talking about all of those players, I don't know. It's just,
I didn't give us
it's
a chance last
depressing.
year,
It's
and
depressing,
and they
honestly.
and they proved me wrong,
Oh,
Doris. Like
yeah,
even you didn't have much
definitely.
faith in us
And
qualifying, right, for the
Carvajal,
final. But
oh, who did, dude?
yeah, but some people, some hot shots, football
And
purists,
I didn't say
tacticos.
anything we that we're not gonna win ever in that preview ever.
Nobody says that, but it's just the fact that it's fucking City, man. Honestly, if it was any other side, I would be having a field day. But since
Yeah.
it's fucking City, you can't count them out, unfortunately. Lolo was mentioning it's not surprising we have been bad defensively. Alaba has missed 15 games this season and has played 75% fit at most times. We don't have a left back, and we already know about a right back issue. Yeah, he has missed 15 games this season. That's a long time. And especially it was the second phase. Yeah, like he missed most of those games post the World Cup, right? It wasn't before, if I'm not mistaken. So it's even more of an issue that he's missing, like important games. Um, Ricardo is back. Nice to see again, Ricardo. He says, I agree with you about Rudiger. Sometimes I think he lacks positional awareness. That is bread and butter. That's how you earn a living as a defender, man. If you can't understand how you can position yourselves, you're finished. Also, Ceballos should be resigned. He offers a different playing style from other midfielders. Ah, right. Yeah, I would agree. Ceballos has traits that can help us when we need to rotate the squad. But yeah, looking by how Jude is gonna pan out, I don't know what his standing in the squad would be once the Englishman enters the equation. But yeah, like even before we scored the third goal, Vasquez was brilliant with his skill. So neat, so neat. Sometimes people just forget that this man is so fucking intelligent in 1v1. Sometimes, like sometimes during Zidane's tenure, I used to wonder why the fuck is Vasquez doing the same thing? Go back and cross the ball, go back and cross the ball, go back and cross it again. But now when I see less and less of it, I completely understand that it was Zidane's instruction for his wide men to ping in crosses. And
Okay,
but
but
now,
it was still
yeah,
painful to watch.
it was still painful. It was still painful, but still, you got to respect the
It was.
trade that Vasquez shows off.
Oh yeah,
Most times.
definitely. Talking about this game, it was so fun, And at some point, late in the game, he was actually playing as a left winger of some
Left
sort,
winger, yeah.
And it was a fun game for him, and our defense wasn't perfect by any means, but still it was really good from Vasquez. But yeah, talking about his future and all that, I think we all know, I think we all share the same opinion about that player. I think the entire
We
fan
shouldn't
base.
we shouldn't really ask about does he deserve to stay. I would say every fucking day that he deserves to stay. That is just me.
Me too.
The people
Yeah.
who wants the people who wants to make better use of that spot in the squad would suggest give the youngsters a chance, blah blah blah. I would understand that, but selling him off, I wouldn't really ask for Vasquez to be sold. Would you, Doris? Would you personally?
Definitely not. And it's not like we would even get anything substantial for him, to be for even for it to even be worth,
The sale, yeah.
his Spanish, he's our loyal player. I don't
Is a
see
Cantera.
I
Yeah.
don't see any reason to sell that man.
Mm.
And so far, like he's only shown respect. He knows when he has to play. When he's asked, he always gives it his all. That's all you can ask from him. And any criticism that we have from him, it's never coming, from any hate or anything for any of our players, especially not for him.
Vasquez brings so much to the table, just like Nacho, that are intangible. Like you can't really see it or touch it, but it rallies the troops, man. It brings everyone together. Vasquez is a guy that I would love to have around, and at least for another year. Um, but yeah, right at halftime, like we I think we discussed about it. No clean sheet FC. That's my note, from that halftime action. Unnecessary goal to concede. We come back out. Baba Boo. Ceballos plays in Rodrygo, turns, thinks about it for a couple of seconds. Bam, top right corner. How satisfying was that? For me, I think one of the best goals that we have scored recently. Um, Rodrigo is not known for those long ranges, but I think this adds a nice little footnote to his already brilliant resume.
Oh yeah, definitely. He doesn't score a lot in La Liga. I mean, he doesn't even get that many minutes. He has been getting minutes lately, and has had more chances to score. And we saw him in the Champions League, of, of course, as we always do. So yeah, his fourth goal, or Madrid's fourth goal, just
Yeah.
incredible, and he had, way too much time and way too much space. And if that was my team defending, I would have been pissed, and yeah. But for Rod- Rodrigo, it was a great shot, and a great goal.
This would actually give him a lot of confidence, right? Like against City, especially at home, Doris. This is my question. Osasuna, we can deal with it some way or the other. No disrespect to Osasuna, they just lost to against Sociedad, if I'm not mistaken, in midweek. They can be gotten at, but my question is, would it be the same starting right spot, like the ones we had against Chelsea for you against City? Like, is it going to be Rodrigo again, or are we going back to the roots with Fede um, down the right for you?
That's a big question. There's no Modric, and that's one guaranteed player that was gonna play. He always plays. So we need to think that we need a man in our midfield, and we have Valverde, we have Joan Many, we have Mavinga, but still our defense is so shit right now that it's kind of hindering everything else, we want to do with our team. Because I would say we still have options, but thinking about our defense and Luca not playing, it's gonna be something.
I think it'll come down to what happens. Like you said, like what happens to Kamavinga. Is Kamavinga going to be playing at left back? Is Nacho going to be playing at left back?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on a lot of things to go
And
to plan. Yeah.
still, Osasuna isn't like an incredible team, and they're not, something, that we cannot get over. But they still drew like
The-
a couple of days, like 3-3 with Betis or something like that. Like they can score goals, and if you can measure anything from that game, 3 goals scored, 3 goals conceded for them, it means that they can score and they can still, you know, uh, capitulate, I guess, and that's exactly what a team needs. But if the
yeah.
defense lets you down, it is gonna be really difficult for Benz
That's the thing, man.
and
Last year, if you remember, Doris, like for majority of the big games, like we expected, it is gonna be a game of us having to basically outscore our opponents to actually stand a chance. But the other thing that we didn't quite see coming was how Carlos' conservative approach and basically getting everybody behind the ball, being compact, um, reducing the amount of breakaways or transition opportunities, the opponents have. By that, like we reduce the threat. I think this year is gonna be a similar approach, but Carlos gonna realize pretty early that our only chance is to outscore our opposition, especially um, against City. Like
proof
we can't.
today.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely, hundred
proof
percent,
just
hundred
the other
percent.
day.
Girona, yeah.
Proof almost every game that we play. Because I mean, if we're gonna talk about,
Madman,
for
honestly.
example, Ter Stegen or any other goalkeeper, they are judged by clean sheets. And how are you gonna judge Thibaut when your defense is playing like this?
We don't do Thibaut any favors, man. Honestly, we don't do Thibaut any favors. People were very harsh on Lunin. I was asking, the guys, like, why shit on Lunin, man? Yes, he could
It
have
wasn't
done
his
better for.
fault. Like I'm sure that the players don't feel safe with him there. It's not anything, personal.
It's nothing
It's just,
personal.
yeah,
Goalkeeping is a position that rewards consistency
yeah.
and
But still,
the goal. Yeah,
when you combine that with some other players in our team and the performances that they had, I mean,
yeah.
nothing against Andre, but still, it was.
The goalkeeper is supposed to be the first man who basically transmits that confidence to his back line. And yeah, like Lunin, I don't know. Last week, in fact, midweek, it was pretty harsh to see, like Lunin getting so much hate. Um, but yeah, like we scored that brilliant goal, and then for 15 minutes we are trying our best to string some passes together, but at 4-1 it seemed like a foregone conclusion until Kroos gives that back pass to I think it was aimed for Rodrygo. I'm not sure. Was it aimed for Rodrygo or was it
Yeah.
aimed for Kamavinga?
Or
Um,
Rudiger.
Rodrygo. Some people would actually question Thibaut's decision to actually play the ball out to Kroos, which can be understandable. But Kroos had enough time to either boot it or like
I
turn and
mean,
go
that
the other way.
wasn't his only time that game that he did something questionable.
Yeah,
And
Kroos
this
wasn't good.
entire season, like his corners are, are all over
Atrocious,
the
man.
place. His free
Set
kicks, like
pieces.
he
Set
should
pieces.
not take set pieces anymore.
The
I
free
mean,
kick that we got
I
towards
don't
the
know what
end, right
happened.
outside the box.
Like as an older player and with a set piece where you're standing, you're not sprinting,
Bro, let me
you're
tell you.
just focused. I don't know what's happening to him because I think when you think of focus and you know the player that's known for it, it's Toni
Yeah,
Kroos.
honestly,
What happened?
press resistant.
Yeah,
Like he's the man that is known for like ice running through his veins, blah blah blah. But I'll tell you, let me tell you what, bro. I think the reason why he fucked up the pass is because, and he has been fucking up a lot of free kicks, corners, and whatnot. I think those boots, man. He hasn't changed the boots in how long? Maybe that. I'm not sure.
it doesn't have to be that. It's
I don't know because I'm trying to cope. I'm trying to cope here because
yeah.
Cruz
I
is
wasn't gonna
someone.
say, but I was yeah, but so it is a questionable time for Toni Kroos, definitely, and it feels like it's hate. It feels like it's like bad criticism of our legend, But
Let me.
I don't think any player is safe of criticism, and he deserves it. In my opinion, like he
Yeah,
hasn't been playing great. He
yeah.
he has
He
had
hit
some moments in the defense,
some very good moments.
Yeah,
Very very good
but we
moments.
cannot judge a player by moments, and he knows
Yeah,
that.
but
He's an old enough
bro, we are
player that
Moments
knows that.
FC. We are
Yeah.
Moments FC, Doris. We are Moments FC.
Yeah, but then
But
you have Luca, then you have Tony, then you have players like that that are not about moments. They're always magical, And right now for Tony, I don't know.
let me ask you this question, Doris. Okay. Like I wanna hear your opinion if this would have had a role to play in some inconsistencies, especially from guys like Tony Cruz. Um, Last year, it was not until maybe the last month or a few weeks leading up to the Champions League final that there was like rumors coming out that Modric was gonna get renewed. But Cruz, since the club maybe didn't want to disrespect him and face a situation like Ramos or like something unthinkable where Cruz basically has no other choice but to retire, maybe Cruz's ego gets hurt and he thinks the club basically is publicly making it seem that he's expendable. All that shit, to avoid that, the club, I think, rightfully so, like everybody wanted Cruz to stay another year. They basically fed that information to top journals that like Cruz's uh, contract negotiations are almost done, and also his contract was more up in the air than Luka Modric. But since his got sorted immediately, Luka Modric's contract also was kind of rumored to be sorted out. Do you think that it would have been best to wait a little more, maybe past the semi-finals to kind of make this a little official? Well, it isn't official, but you know what I mean.
In what sense? For Tony or for the fans, for the club?
For Tony to maybe fight for it a bit more, not be, I don't know, sometimes
All
look a
that.
little,
Well,
yeah,
first it will have to be on Ancelotti to not play him in, as a defensive midfielder and trust Chouameni, to be there. Not now on the 29th of April, you know, before this, and trust him and grow with him. You did it with Edu. I don't know. Like we are still talking about Tony here, and we're not selling him. The only thing that can happen is for him to retire, and he's not 37, 38 like Marcelo was, for example. Like he is still here, year by year. He's still signing year by year. So I I think it's like that for Luka too. This season also,
yep,
not in general, because in general he also signs, year by year. But for this season, I think like I mean I hope that the club gives them a contract, especially Luca. I don't want it to be on them. I want it to be on him if he feels like he can play, and it's the same thing with the Tony. I doubt that either of them would do anything about it, to hinder other players from playing. So definitely, if either of them wanna stay, I think it would be criminal to, make them
So the
retire.
club would have. So the club's timing necessarily doesn't have a part to play in any of this. That was my
I don't
question.
think that it has to do with anything. I think it's
Mm.
entirely on Ancelotti because Cruz knows that he's gonna be here. I don't think it was a secret between them. Ooh, are we gonna let you stay, Tony? Like he knew he's gonna play
Well,
here.
the thing is,
Like
Doris, like
you're
Cruz.
overthinking it.
No, but the indications early in the season, Cruz, like regarding Cruz, Doris, if you remember, like
And
I
that's
was
on
very
him.
concerned.
That's on him if he wants to play. But that's his head. Like he knows that if he wants to play, the club knows if they want him. It was sorted long, long, long time ago. I don't think like the news coming out now has anything to do with anything. And
Fair point.
the only person it that it can be on is Ancelotti if he's gonna play them or not. But Ancelotti, has his
Has
own
some,
yeah
yeah.
choices.
Well, we got to respect it, at least until until he's here. I mean, I hope he stays beyond this season, but it's a completely different conversation. In order for him to stay, we need to win the Champions League. I hope we do, man. I really hope we do. If we win this one again, I'm not gonna speak about it too much. It'll be special. I'll just keep it at that. But let's just get into some of the comments. Javier was mentioning we need to think of La Copa and get a bust for City. Yeah, next Saturday is gonna be wild, man. Yeah, Saturday, Osasuna. Sunday, it's my birthday, and then Monday, probably the City preview, and then uh, we play Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure. So it's a mad week. Next week, I don't know. I'm gonna be trained. Um, Pretty sure. Javier also was mentioning it was interesting to watch the Carlo substitute Nacho and Danny to liberate Kama and Lucas. I think this is a tryout for the next few games. Yeah, like Kama, look at midfield was always a great option. We can just see how much he offers to the whole scheme compared to a guy like Chouameni. I'm not shitting on Chouameni. Chouameni was the second best midfielder on the pitch. He did his thing, broke up a few dangerous situations. My only gripe with him, gave away a few unnecessary free kicks right outside the edge of the box and whatnot. But apart from that, like Chouameni did his thing. Law was mentioning he's simply just not 2016 Cruz. That is just the truth. Yeah, like I was alluding to that
Yeah.
last year, leading up to the PSG ties and whatnot. People still make fun about it. It was the infamous Sunay quote about Cruz, the midfield not having legs. Yeah, that was my campaign basically. But we all know that football is a humbler, and those guys humbled me again, showing me that it's not all about athleticism and legs. It's much more of how much you can do with your brain, I guess. That's just the truth. People talk about Jude replacing Modric, but it's really for Cruz. I don't know. Stylistically, it looks like he's a replacement for Modric, but we all know, like guys who see that's the funny bit. I'm pretty sure every one of us know Ruud van Nistelrooy. We know Casemiro. When they were young, they played completely different positions. Casemiro was a striker. Ruud van Nistelrooy was a midfielder. Up until he broke into PSV, if I'm not mistaken. Even at Heronveen, he was a midfielder. So Jude can do either roles, man, because he has a skill set to do both. He has the passing range for maybe deployed in a cruise role, has the dribbling, has the vision, has the eye for
I
the
think
goal as well.
the problem is the way everyone is looking at it. They are comparing him to one player. what used to compare him to, him playing with Valverde, him playing
Yeah.
with Chouameni. He's not gonna play with Cruz and Tony. He's not gonna be one of those, and build something with it. So we should talk about him, to in a pair with someone. How is he gonna play with Valverde there? How is our gonna midfield gonna look with Jude, Chouameni, and Valverde? Like, I think that is the bigger question than with Cruz and Modric, because no one is ever gonna replace that, and it feels pointless to even think about it, to even speak about it, because it's just magic, and it's so cringe when you talk about it that way, and those words are kind of cringe, but still it's just magic. And if he is that kind of player, he will show it. He will create his own thing.
Yeah, it is a very good point, which I have to agree with. Like sometimes we kind of focus on who he's going to replace, but yeah, man, excellent point, Doris. That it is more about the synergy that he's going to have with these other young prospects that we have, and going by the look of things, I think they'll gel just fine, honestly,
Yeah.
because yeah, like they have immense talent, immense potential, and very mature temperament, unlike someone like me, very mature people who can actually deal with any sort of situation in a game. Like it doesn't phase them. Like I've never seen Kamavinga be rash unnecessarily. Like apart from last year when he was new in the league, new to the biggest club in the world, trying to impress people, which is normal for a kid, yeah. Like, but these other names, Fede, uh, Chouameni, uh, Jude Bellingham, all these guys, they exude confidence. I think that is gonna complement all of them, so much, man. Lolo was mentioning also Cruz needs to let Rodrygo take set pieces. He needs to stop using the veteran tax. Facts. I have no idea how he has first dibs on every fucking set piece. I don't know if it is straight from the training ground, like these guys are so used to him being, the provider. But let's not forget, Modric is exceptional at set pieces, man. Like he gave us the biggest set piece of the last 15 years, for La Decima. He can do a job, and I honestly feel as of late, like whenever Modric takes a set piece, it is just better. Asensio does a good job most of the time as well. Um,
Yeah, but we should also take into consideration that for our set pieces, apart from our center backs, as it's
yeah,
always been, we only have Benzema up there. There's no more Bale. There's no more Cristiano. There's only Benzema there. There's no more
that Rudiger can't hit a fucking
Casemiro there.
bando, with a
Yeah.
header.
Oh,
Rudiger's so bad,
definitely.
man. So bad, so bad. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why it's so easy to fucking get a Rudiger. He doesn't even wear a vest. I'm telling you, to a shootout. Like he doesn't wear helmets. He doesn't wear any. He doesn't have a good gun. He doesn't wear a fucking vest. Which I mean by the fact that he can't basically head a ball right. That is your that is your basic trait, man. Just heading the ball well. Like I'm just so like I have such high hopes for Rudiger. I've seen him thrive in the Chelsea system, be the most aggressive from set pieces, bang headers in. Over here, nah, I'm not sure. Anyway, right. One final bit of play that I loved, before the game kind of winded up, and Benzema rightfully deserved his chance to go level at the top of the Pichichi race with Lewandowski. That combination with Chouameni, Kamavinga, and then Benzema, like that was insane, man. Like I don't know how that shot managed to find all the way to the post and bounce out. It just felt heartbreaking, honestly, because it was a move that would have been framed like how we kind of look back now on that infamous goal. that BBC scored against Valencia, where Bale, Benzema, and Ronaldo kind of combined. I guess it was away at the Mestalla 2015-16, but it was something similar to that. It would have been an incredible goal if it actually went in, but it never quite happened. Was it harsh that maybe Benzema could have easily gotten like 5 goals and like gone maybe above Lewandowski tonight? Like, I honestly feel like he missed so many chances.
That is the question for a lot of games. Like if every chance was scored or every good chance was scored, there would have been so many goals. In general, we cannot judge a player, but
I'm not judging. I just
for
feel
the
sorry
goals
for
that
him.
he didn't score,
Yeah.
or yeah, you you know what I mean. Like he had his chances, and we judge a player if he can take those, and still he had a hat trick. It's still very very good from him, and we should praise him for it. But then you have, for another great chance, you have Rodrygo and the save from the goalkeeper that was
Oh
basically,
yeah, the chip, right?
yeah,
It
like
was insane.
it just happens. It just happens. There's not much
Yeah,
you
that
can.
that was Kouros basically trying to um, set his mistake right. It was right after he gave away the goal. He tries to set up Benzema, and then Benzema plays in Rodrygo, who tries to chip the keeper. The keeper actually gets a hand on it, but the ref gives it as a goal kick. I don't
Yeah.
understand what the fuck these guys are on, man. But
I
it
think it
was what it
happened
was.
twice in that game that a corner wasn't called, and me as
Mm.
a Croatian, that hurts a lot when it happened against France once, and they scored from that, and it will
Was it in
always
the World
hurt.
Cup?
Yeah, it was at the World Cup.
Fuck. I don't
Yeah.
remember, but
So I
yeah.
take those seriously,
Mm.
when they get called and when they don't get called. It, so yeah, but for the one for Rodrigo, it was so it was so difficult to see, and it didn't really change the pace of the game and everything. It happened pretty fast, and they just decided to go with the game, not just give a corner.
Mm.
It's okay, like not much to talk about. If it was the Champions League and late in the game, definitely take a look at it. But it's Almeria, it's Madrid at home. You're 4-2 down. It's okay.
Makes sense, I guess. This is another stat that I would like to couple of things that I would like to bring up before we kind of wrap this up. Real Madrid starting midfield completed 37 final third passes against Almeria combined. That is the most by a Real Madrid midfield this season. Surprising or expected, Taurus?
I mean, the entirety of the attack and the midfield seemed to flow pretty well. So
Mm.
I mean, it's a good thing for everyone, for the entirety of that part of the team. For our defense, it's a different thing, but everything else, our midfield played really well, and usually when your midfield plays well, the rest of the team plays well. So yeah, they were good, and the mistakes that happened with the defense were not their fault. So everything we have to say is, I would say, just praise him.
Mm. Next one is basically Benzema becoming the fourth all-time top La Liga goal scorer, man. It's fucking insane. I would have never thought that he would be up here, just behind guys like Cristiano, Messi, Telmo Zara, basically. That's a massive milestone for him
Yeah.
in the twilight of his career. Do you think he's gonna actually, like, I still don't believe he is in his true element like he was last season. But do you think that Benzema's gonna come up huge again against City next week? Do you think he can really bring back that last year peak prime? That's what prime Benzema was. That prime Benzema. Um, you know.
I mean, for last season, I don't think anyone predicted him to play that way, and we cannot pretend that he always played like that, you
Yeah.
know. And it's not the first season that Cristiano hasn't been here. It wasn't the first season that Bale wasn't playing, you know. Like it was just something that happened in that moment, and he was that player was always there, you know. But this season he missed quite a few matches for his standard. You know, he's usually never really injured. He plays a lot of games. He plays a lot of minutes, and this season I think it hurt him a lot. He didn't play in the World Cup. A lot of things happen, you know, and coming off of a Ballon d'Or and the Champions League and the League Cup, and you know, so many trophies and all of that. I'm sure there's a lot of things happening internally, you know, in Karim, if that's the way to say that, you know. But for him as a player and his fitness, we can only see it is we can only predict that, you know.
Yeah.
But so far, he has been playing all right. He has been playing really good, I would say.
We
He
need.
he
Yeah.
scored in the Champions League. He's scoring in the league. He caught up with Lewandowski, which we didn't think he would do, because you know we would think Lewandowski was gonna fly away with it, you know, and he's still there. So what can we say, you know? And for our team, like we have been talking about it. We still have about the same amount of points that we had last season. Benzema is still playing well like last season. We are still in the semi-final like last season, so nothing really to complain about there.
But can you really think that he is in that shape like last year? I don't think
He
he
was
is.
in
He
beast
does.
mode. He was in beast
Yeah.
mode.
That is my only.
Can he turn it on? I guess we'll see. We can only
Yeah.
predict that. There is nothing, you
We'll
know,
need
really
that
constructive to
Benzema
say.
to move past City, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
they look solid. They look solid. They play some mad
Yes.
fucking things, man.
It'll be a
Um, at,
long
at
game.
City, they are playing at the moment with five centre backs, five centre backs,
And
five
just
centre backs,
Haaland.
and basically a guy called John Stones in midfield. So it is gonna be a crazy game, and honestly, it's like it looks very unevenly matched, if I must say that. Um, Going by how tactically flexible they are. The City that we saw last year had one game plan, or maybe one and a half game plan, but that's it. This year they can play any way they want to.
I've
We can't do that, and that is my biggest
it's so
concern.
scary. It's so
Yeah.
scary. I think everyone, like, no matter how optimistic you are and what you think is gonna happen, I think everyone is just hoping, just don't embarrass us, and that's it. Like, if we go out, we go out, but like, don't embarrass
No, no,
us.
no, no.
Because
I
when
don't
you
want to go out. Fuck going
oh
out. But
yeah,
yeah,
fuck that, definitely. But thinking about it, and Haaland and the way he's playing, and City and them, like, if they win the Champions League and if they keep winning, they will probably be one of, if not the greatest team of all time. Like, let's not kid ourselves. We talk about the Invincibles. We talk about United and Sir Alex and all of that. You know, Fergie, and we talk about Madrid and Barca in the 2000s. Like we talked about so many teams, and Man City is gonna be one of those teams. They just haven't won it yet.
But I'm pretty sure, bro. This is my only saving grace from all of this because um, when outside entities, outside forces put pressure on a team like us, we embrace it.
Oh
We
yeah,
face it
definitely. I'm not
face to face. Yeah.
I'm not saying that we will lose or
No, no,
anything,
no.
but
See,
I'm
see,
just saying
see.
like
I was alluding to your point that City, when put under pressure, they might crumble. That's what happened last year. Now, the media, the fans, everyone is talking about a possible treble of a Premier League, of an FA Cup. FA Cup is done. Premier League is fucking done. Finito, right? FA Cup final is against Manchester United, who's not going to stand a chance. But
exactly.
the only guy on this motherfucking planet who can stop City is it's Real Madrid, man, and we got to do it. And I think that pressure would get to them because we have no pressure. Let's be honest. We have the least amount of pressure that we had even last season. Last season, people were easy to write us off. This season, they'll be saying much more wilder stuff, than last year because we are not top of La Liga. We have lost to many subpar sides. The only reasonable side that we have bet this whole year, I think, is Barcelona and the 4-0 Clasico. Even
And
that was
Villarreal.
despite Barcelona losing so many key players. Did you
You
mention
shouldn't.
Villarreal?
Yeah, you shouldn't laugh at that. You shouldn't laugh at that. That is actually like really not funny.
I don't understand. Villarreal is a top side. You mean?
No, I'm saying like the bare minimum. You know, if Villarreal last year was in the semi-final, they played
It was
Bayern.
a it was a Unai
It's
Emery side.
oh yeah. I'm not saying that, but like if we, are we gonna take
Kike
a
Setien is not
are we
bad, but
gonna talk
still,
about the
come on.
bare minimum, for the teams that we lost to, or
Oh,
the
you're talking
maximum?
about
Because
lost to? I was talking about the sides we bet. We haven't bet anyone big apart from Barcelona
oh, I thought
this this
you
season.
were saying about losing to. I was like,
No, not
what are
losing,
you
not
talking
losing.
about then?
I was thinking you were referring to the Copa del Rey
No,
quarterfinal
no, no, no,
which we
no.
won against Villarreal. I was just implying that we haven't bet any big teams this season, and that's a worry. That's a genuine worry for me. Last year, it was one Goliath after another Goliath, like PSG. Chelsea was a much better side. This year, Liverpool mid-table, fucking mid-table. Chelsea mid fucking table. They have a real chance of getting relegated. They lost again, I think, a couple of days ago. Um, so it is definitely less pressure for us, and the expectation is 100%. The bookies, the 538 predictions, all of that indicate towards a City mauling where we stand no chance. I think we thrive in that area. I think we have to show City so much more respect than we showed them last season because of the fucking obvious, man, Haaland. Yeah, it's gonna be peak. Um, quick look at the comments. Lola Law was mentioning we are going back to more of a transition-based midfield like 2011. We don't need a Kroos type player for a quick transition team. Yeah, Kroos kind of slows it down. He's not exactly a transition player, but um, yeah, man, I guess we gotta just sit tight for another year of Kroos. You can't just look at it just from purely the fact that he doesn't contribute to the transition. He does so much more that just goes unnoticed by many of us, man, including myself. Like when he has an absolutely um, 10 out of 10 of a game, we seldom bring it up and sing his praises. That is why sometimes we are kind of harsh on Cruz. But I'll tell you, this man has stuff to offer still. I still believe in that, honestly. I'm just gonna hang by that belief, and let's see where it takes us, man. Tarun Kumar says we have to look to pocket KTP and Bernardo Silva, and Man City will be toothless. Right, it's easier said than done. If you watch the first goal against Arsenal, my goodness me, the sheer power, pace, precision with which Man City took apart Arsenal, it scares me because all throughout the city's dominance, their rise to fame with Guardiola, I was always of the impression that City are a side that sometimes they overcomplicate shit. They play it around a bit too much. Make Sometimes it's a fetish to make sure that every single outfield player has a touch before they score a goal. Sometimes it looks like that, but ever since Haaland has come in, they just don't give a fuck, man. They just go direct, you know, very, very direct. And I just hope, like whoever starts Militao or Rudiger is able to contain Haaland, man. Doris, this calls for Rudiger to be the perfect specimen to slow down Haaland. Does it make sense to you, despite his defensive frailties that we have been talking about today?
I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it until it happens. I guess we're just gonna see. It is something that's really out of our hands. We cannot predict it. I don't think he can even predict it. I don't think he knows what's gonna happen. So yeah, I don't know, man.
I guess we'll have to wait and see. And I
Yeah.
guess Steve would give us a better insight into how we can stop Haaland. Um, might have to pay him an extra couple of bucks, or maybe like a good burger joint to kind of, influence him into spilling some, insider info. But I'm pretty sure, like I'm going to be watching and re-watching what Haaland does off the ball. But because like I've been studying Haaland for the past 2 3 weeks intensively, extensively, actually downloading whole games and watching what this guy does that makes him so lethal. And it's his off the ball movement. Let's be honest, it's just like Cristiano. He goes offside, comes back in at the moment you think he's just not being um, careful enough to stay onside. He just plays on your mind always. He is a problem that doesn't go away. I'm going to look into it deeper and kind of try to find a formula that can help us. Just at this moment, I know, just by randomly watching City here and there, the only way we find some joy is attacking their wings. That is where the game is there to be won for us. Um, I don't think we stand a chance going down the middle because they have way too much quality, too many brilliant cogs working in tandem that completely will take us out of the equation down the middle. So absolutely, it's down to Vinny and guys like Rodrygo to exploit their wing backs. I don't know about Ake. It seems like he'll be out. He might recover miraculously, for the first leg. But if they miss Ake, that is a point that we must attack. He plays left back or left side centre back for City, and we should take absolutely. It's funny. Our right side is the weakest. They're missing their best left-sided defender, so it's all up to the gods. But yeah, like we gotta completely take advantage of their uh, weakness down the sides. But I guess that's pretty much it, man. Thank you so much for everyone who was in the comments. We appreciate you guys always being here. It's such a great motivation for us to kind of like keep everything aside and make the shows because, like I always mention, this two-way conversation is what makes this a great EP, which makes which makes every episode a great episode. It is the two-way conversation. So big up every single one of you, and big up to all of you guys who are who, have been constantly reaching out to us, through Spotify and whatnot. Over 20k plays, 21k plays actually. So yeah, man, massive love for all the love that you guys have been showing us. And do check out our partners, Real Madrid Committee, on Instagram. They run a brilliant fan page. Yeah, man. Doris, any final thoughts before we go?
Not really. Mostly just happy for the game. We have a huge game, coming up. Huge 2 weeks
Sociedad
coming up.
on
Yeah,
Tuesday, and
yeah,
then Osasuna on Saturday,
yeah,
City on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's back to back now.
yeah. But remember to check out the previews, the post matches. We're gonna do a watch along for City, so come for that, and that's it. A la Madrid.
Ala Madrid.